but Hera's going to say, okay, what he did against me did not work. I should not do this. So
Yeah,
they've
kinda.
learned a little bit here. But I mean, just looking right away as we're in the game at Hera's map, I mean,
Sorry.
comparatively, look at his gold, and it's in a better situation that what Zuppi had last time. But maybe the rest of his map isn't as good. Who knows? If you wouldn't mind, I'll start with Hera's map. That's okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so I already mentioned the gold that's on the back. He also has the stone there. The main gold's okay; it's relatively safe, but of course the wood lines are important. And for a Hera, I actually think his wood lines are going to be a problem.
It's
And
really a problem. It's just
yeah,
worse
like
than the earlier games we've seen.
wood is the most important resource in the game. I guess last time Zuppi did have some backwood. Gold is of course important, but look at, I mean, the forward wood line is going to be easy pickings, I think, for Zuppi in the late game. And apart from that, for Hera, he could go to the right-hand side if he scouts it, right? The one on the very right at the top of that hill, but still that's quite far away and quite exposed.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
it is, like you said, really going to be a problem. So what do you think about Zuppi's map then? Because I kind of like
Zuppi's map is
the map
actually
as well.
quite nice. He's able to wall it on the left. And the pesky thing again is going to be those hills he has, but he might have an easy time expanding a bit to the backwood line. Having the gold in the back is quite nice as well. There's still one gap behind. It would have been better if it's a bit better off the edge, obviously, but he still is able to mine around it. His lumber is quite close to his DC, but I think it's reasonable overall, but the hills just make it something very risky. If Hera is going to be such an offender as we saw last game, he might really be struggling to actually take a stand on this map.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you pointed out, I think that Zuppi has a better map by far because he's better wood lines, and also he has a similar position in the gold. Uh, of course, Hera now being Chinese and he's up against a Britain player, you also want to pay attention to the hills. And there are small hills around Hera's base, pretty much in every location, specifically around his resources as well. So where his woodline is now, there's hills to the right-hand side of that. And not to mention, there's a pond behind it as well, where the archers and crossbows can walk behind it, which is a big pain. And then there is a hill behind his gold, too. So it's going to be really hard for Hera to close down this map with walls, and I think just keep his base safe. So we might see, like you said, some aggression here, or he might go for a drush, which we thought we would see from either of these players last time, and the drush would be a good way to maybe get some map control in the early game and control the pace of the game.
Yeah, I can see Zuppi going for Drush here, as his map isn't too bad if he can beat aggressor early game, and he will be able to get the resources in for Castle Age, I feel. But Hero's map obviously is just too much of a gamble to actually go and go for Drush. I mean, and then what? Lose everything to Voodoo Archers in your base?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, but Zuppi actually, and it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of what we notice at this point in the game. He kind of struggled with the boar lore. The boar, of course, which it does do sometimes, ran around that little tree there.
Yeah, I hate those stragglers where your ball
Yeah.
just runs around.
He also is making two farms, so that pretty much negates the Drush idea. He's putting
Yeah,
the wood
indeed.
into farms.
And now I'm... Oh no, never mind. A bit of a brain fart there.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
we see Hera here being forward, is walling off a little bit,
Yeah,
but
and
okay, yeah, he's just going to
Hera's
continue this wall, probably wall off the right as well. Let me see if he scouted it. Yes, he did. So he's probably just going to try and secure his resources like that. And I think Hera might be able to make a better map out of this than we thought in the first instance. As if he walls off the
yeah.
right and walls a bit towards his DC, his main gold and two large wood lines are safe.
The question is, what in the world is Hera doing with this villager running forward? Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. I think he's going to lure his wolves. And
Because yeah, Zuppi's not going that way. I have no clue. I mean, I saw his scouting out. If you look at what Hera's scouting can see, let's see what he can see. Well, he doesn't even see that much at all. I think
he
he's
only
gonna
knows his
go.
second lumber camp from Zuppi going up.
Yeah, maybe he's going to tower right in
Oh,
that
and
little.
look. Zuppi's
there.
moving forward as well with 4 fills.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're most definitely, in my opinion, going to be seeing 2 ranges from Zuppi. Like, he's going up as Britain, so he's got to be going ranges. And he's got a lot of wood. So he probably going skirms to start because he's not touching gold. Now, from Hera, I honestly have no clue.
Well, I think he wants to go up at 23 population, but look at this, he's struggling to get the last food in. He's now exactly at 500 food, clicking up. I think he might have been considering a scout rush as he's adding multiple farms right now. But it feels a bit sloppy on his side.
Yeah, he's sending 3
Oh, he's
over
now
to
actually
gold
moving
now.
to gold.
I think Hera is caught in 2 minds here. I don't know what he's doing with this villager. If you're going forward with villagers, you do what Zuppi's doing and you send multiple vills forward.
Yeah, you cannot really go for an in-time military building drop with 1 villager. I like how
Barracks at home.
Hera is really reshaping the map. Just having the right walls. I mean, it takes some effort, obviously, but it isn't too bad now for Zuppi. Well, I think he's going to wall off the south right now. But I think here we have the archers going up for Zuppi. It's going to be interesting to see some forward aggression, especially because the woodlines of Hera, even though he reshaped the map a little bit, as I mentioned earlier, he still is going to struggle as the woodlines are simply so far away from the town center. So there's a lot of risk.
Early stone. Zuppi's going to early stone, so he's putting a tower up. He's going with 1 range, and he's going skirms and spears, and he's going to just try and bust down this wall and put towers up. The one thing that Hera has going for him is he has stone in his base if he needs to get to it, but this is a hard approach to stop, and I'm still not sure what Hera's doing with that Vil.
Yeah, oh, but there's a double range going up by the 1 villager over there. So he's just going to get a defensive tower right now, which I find myself in a bit of an awkward position. I guess it will cover most of the entrance, but
going with in this position, when you have opponent going with skirms and the trash approach, in this position, when you have towers and trash coming at you, to put the ranges forward like this is ballsy. It's
yeah,
ballsy.
like it really takes some big balls to actually go forward yourself. But on the other hand, Zuppi might not be expecting it at all, and if he has a bad map, you might be able to punish him really hard.
Exactly. So I'm going to pay attention as the co-caster to the scouting then of Zuppi, see if he sees those ranges. Because imagine there's archers coming in and just wrecking the eco. Because there's no defensive buildings back there for Zuppi, and he's probably not expecting this.
Yeah, indeed, and this is really, in my opinion, the risk about going forward is it will take such a long time to actually get something to defend your base, and this is why I mainly would have liked to see Hera going a scout rush. Obviously, we cannot blame Hera for this, as Hera doesn't know that Zuppi is going to forward in that instance, but then you can just go in with the scouts, and your opponent will have such a hard time responding.
Honestly, I mean, Zuppi's not even close to seeing this. If he gets town watch, he might be close. But I'm also looking. He doesn't even have enough stone for a defensive tower right now. So it's important for Hera to defend at home, but also to not attack too early. Because if he alerts Zuppi that something's up too early, it could be a problem. But Zuppi's running in now with some skirms. Interesting decision. He's running in beneath the tower now.
Yeah, I think he might be targeting the other wood line of Hera over here, as he does have the line of sight, I think. He knows there's the lumber camp. He knows the villager there. He has some scouting information. So he might be able to go offensive here and force Hera on this one little wood line where he has his tower.
Yeah. Both players are kind of doing the right thing in this situation. It's interesting because it's about to be a base trade, which is really hard to cast. It's about how much damage you can do. I mean, there's towers on both wood lines then of Hera. He has to defend his stone here and make sure he doesn't lose villagers. Of course, villagers don't auto-attack, so it's really hard to micro this as he loses his scout. And right now, he has about soon-to-be 8 archers.
I really think Hera is struggling here a little bit with the villages in stone, as he thinks he is able to defend it with the vills, but look at the numbers. I think even though it's just plain out trash, which isn't great against villagers, I think Zuppi will have quite an easy time actually doing some damage here.
Yeah, he lost a couple vills there, but now there's only skirms left. I think he will clean it up. Now, he did lose a vill as well on the farms, and I think he could potentially lose one more if he's not careful.
But now, Hera dealing the damage to Zuppi in the woodland, and I think Zuppi just didn't see this coming. He's now adding the blacksmith forward as well.
So strong.
2 villages going down, maybe a third? I doubt it. Please do not lose the archers under the TC though. Ooh. Well, not anyone going down, but taking a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And the villager count, still a bit more for Zuppi, but Zuppi still has 4 villages forward, so that's a bit of idle time as well. And I like how Hera now got the archers at the gold under Zuppi's tower. And you know, usually you're a bit like, okay, so now he's just going to send army to clean this up, so I'm stuck under this tower, don't want to take too much damage. But with Zuppi being forward, this might deny gold for a very, very long time.
Exactly. And not only that, there's really not enough stone right now for Zuppi to build another tower elsewhere. So if Hera's able to send in more archers, he might be okay. But as I say that, he could build another tower. It looks like the units are coming back from Zuppi. Hera should probably go back when he gets the chance here. We'll
I
see
found this tower of Hera a bit weird. The back of the large woodline of, the tower of Zuppi.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the archers being cleaned up mostly by TC in villages, some
but
skims.
on Zuppi's stone, we got more villagers going down.
Ooh, a lot of villages going down.
Well,
But this is actually looking pretty bad for Zuppi right now. Not doing an awful lot of damage, picking some villages. He's still ahead in villages though, which surprises me a little bit. I'm not sure who has wheelbarrow and who doesn't or anything like it, which might cause a bigger difference, but...
well, I can tell you, Zuppi, I just saw Hera complete. I did not see Zuppi complete it. And also, the idle time is hugely...
Yeah, it's indeed huge. That's going to be...
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't matter how many villages you have, it's how many are working for you. So Hera, especially if he keeps his army alive, I think is in a good position here. He still has the ranges on the front, and I think he's somewhat safe back at home. Oh, he's attacking. He's trying to attack the towers, but there's another tower attacking.
Oh, that might cost him a lot of villages, and he deleted his walls to do so as well, so this might... Oh, this is quick walling it as well, so the villains have to walk all the way around if they are not dying first. And the towers of Zuppi is on the left side as well, so if he's going to try and get back in the base, they will have to pass another tower and the archers.
Yeah, those 3 builds might die here. I thought Hera was calling it for a second because he said well played, but I think he was just congratulating.
Yeah,
Zuppi
just the house wall and stuff like it. It's just interesting. I guess you can enjoy those little plays of your opponents just as much.
Back on Zuppi's woodline again on the right side. Another villager or 2.
Yeah, 3 villages going down.
This
A lot of aggression for both players. Really interesting. This time they are fighting back and forth in each other's base, not in Imperial, but rather in the Feudal Age.
Well, this is what we talked about. I was like, what can Zuppi do? And, or what can Hera do, sorry. And this is it, I think.
Yeah, indeed.
You gotta take the fight in the Feudal Age. And so it's been interesting.
And he's been doing a good job so far.
Yeah.
Even though I find it really dubious to say who's actually better off at this stage, because I feel like Hera has been picking more villages as he's going archers, but Zuppi is just forcing so much idle time with all his towers and trash walking through his villages.
I think at this point you just need to get enough defensive towers up so you can, like, just get your eco rolling.
Yeah, it seems like that's exactly what Hera is doing right now, but I wonder how close Zuppi is. He's not really close to clicking up anyway. Needs a lot more food. Has the gold.
My problem the problem for Hera is not so much his defensive towers, but the towers from Zuppi are denying him from wood, and he's not going to have the wood for farms to get up to the next stage. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 farms, and that's it. So he's in a rough spot, and I guess you could say the same for Zuppi, who has 1 wood line right now, and it's really inefficient. So
yeah, it's really awkward for both players.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wonder who's actually... Hera's actually getting the market up and might consider buying some resources to actually get up in time. And with his gold being so available, I cannot really blame him for doing so.
Yeah, that's actually a really wise move. And Zuppi isn't really considering that. If you look, he's just sending a lot to wood. You know, he has a lot of stone as well, so I'm not sure if he would be interested in getting a castle up on the
Ah,
towers to free up.
Zuppi is getting the market now.
Ah, okay. He's stream cheating. Shame on you, Zuppi. I'm kidding. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see who gets up first. It seems to be relatively slow right now. It looks like Hera with that villager on the right-hand side as he clicks up to the castle age is going with the stable, and I think that's a really wise move. Because there's a lot of skirms out from Zuppi in defense right now. Oh, but Hera has to be careful. He's attacking these houses. What are you doing? No. He's taking a bad fight, in my opinion, losing a lot of archers. He's going to go back now. But yeah, what should Hera do in the castle age? What do you think?
Yeah, well, he's dropping the stable already, and I think going knights is simply quite a good option, as he will be able to defend his own plays and deal with the skirmish as well, as you mentioned. It will be very effective, and I'm wondering, Zuppi is still 200 foot of clicking up to castle age. I think Hera should be able to do a lot of damage.
So, I just checked, and it looks as though Hera sold 500 stone. Which
wow.
is interesting because he could have built a castle next to 2 towers, or depending on how many he could reach, and freed up some wood lines. But instead, I think he's going to try and win this in the early game by getting up to the castle age first and going with stables. So I find that to be an interesting decision.
And defensive tower now going up for Zuppi at the stone. Not a lot going on for now. It seems like both sees the aggression for now. Focus on getting up to castle age, and from there on maybe continue with the fight. But Hera obviously going to hit it earlier, and I think once he gets Expos out, he will be the one going and starting the aggression again.
Oh, the forward build just got picked off. Hera just lost the forward build to some skirms, and it's worth noting that right now Zuppi has 12 more villagers, and he might just trap in these archers.
Indeed. And he's even going to get a hill advantage over here. Maybe Hera will be getting the upgrade in time, but I'm not sure why Zuppi's backing off over here. He could have had a great fight.
Yeah, there's one knight there now, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Now, I also checked, and Zuppi actually sold 600 wood. So these players are selling their resources because they don't have space to balance their economy.
Oh, pretty insane. You can just see both players having so much pressure. But I still think Hera losing his forward village is pretty huge, as Siege would have been a really nice addition to those skirmishes.
Yeah, I agree. But Hera needs to hold this forward now. I mean, he could do a lot of damage here on this hill. He has the knights coming out. Of course, Chinese knights, they fully upgradable. He has a lot of crossbows. And he's holding a wood line, he's holding a stone, and he's close to the other stone as well. Now, Bodkin arrow coming in from both players. Once the Bodkin arrow comes in from Zuppi, that's going to be huge. And oh, look, he has crossbows coming in to the wood line on the right from Hera. And there are a lot of towers, but he could try.
The tower is there. At least one field's going down, but Hera's going in at the same time in the north, it seems.
Yeah, it would almost be worth it for Zuppi to get, like, guard tower. I mean, like, he has so many towers in defense and offensively. I mean, this is the point in a pro game where you'd like to see that. Maybe he doesn't want to spend the wood right now. He doesn't seem to have an awful lot of it, but I wouldn't mind seeing that in this situation. He's putting up another TC on that gold on the front. It's really not the best TC placement, but he wants to secure that gold. And wow, Hera with a lot of knights here going in on feudal skirmishers.
Yeah, indeed, and he might be able to do quite a bit of damage, especially as the Xbox are still sniping off some units as he's just running to the back.
And
for now,
again, Zuppi is really struggling to find a good wood line here. He still has his wood line on the left-hand side, and that's it. And if he loses some more space here, that's a big deal. As Hera wants to just take some more space and take this tower out.
Hera dealt with the Xbox earlier in the south of his base, as he did get the Mangonel out on the Siege Workshop in his base, so he seems to be safe, except for the towers, obviously. And A-Lead skirmish is now being researched by Zuppi, but it feels a little late. I feel like the Knights are doing a great job already.
Yeah, well, all those tower are going to go down now. And those knights are cleaning up so many skirmishers.
Really good, doing a great job, and this is why I really like Zuppi going Knights. I mean, skirms versus Knights is just so painful to watch if you have the skirmishes.
Yeah, so I'm paying attention now to the wood line on the right-hand side from Hera, and I mean, wood is becoming a problem for Hera as well. And is he saving up? Yes, he does have enough for a castle now, so I'm thinking he should try that right where his tower is on the right-hand side. It would be worth it. He is 800. He should definitely not sell. He definitely needs to free up a wood line. He's actually not collecting any wood right now. And oh, he's breaking out on the left-hand side, which is a good move. Meanwhile, the fight's still ensuing, but finally Elite Skirm came in from Zuppi. But he doesn't have that much military at all to really combat that amount of knights and crossbows. This is a messy game for sure, but
Yeah, that has been certain since the start of Feudal Age, in my opinion. After seeing both players going forward, even though Hero wasn't, it didn't feel like a fully forward, but still really interesting and really resulting in a messy game. Both players having a struggle with the economy, but it seems like Hero's moving out right now, and he might be getting a TC down at a nice spot at a goal. But his one expo is going to ruin his game, it seems.
just real quick, I don't know if it's Hera is in the blue. I think it's twice now. It's been confused potentially.
Yes, I have Hera in the blue over here.
Yeah, okay. The university's come up for Zuppi. What's he going to be doing with that university? He's going to go for ballistics. He's going to go for ballistics. And it's interesting because he doesn't have many crossbows. He has... Oh, he's sending crossbows at... All his ranges are in different spots.
Yeah, he's getting crossbows in the south as well, but Hero's now dropping a castle on the wood line to make sure he can deal with the towers and just simply secure his wood, as he's really craving to get some wood in.
Finally.
And indeed, it's about time he does so.
But Zuppi's, I mean, he might not have the best economy, but he is maintaining a large villager lead, and he's finally pushing out with these crossbows. And this is what he needs to do, because that is his advantage, really. And there's no bloodlines on these knights, and there's...
This is actually a GG being called by Hera. Wow, really struggling with the expos out of Zuppi, but I found this really... Wow.
So, I think that there were a couple small things. Of course, it didn't look huge in the grand scheme of things, but the couple crossbows there from Zuppi on the left-hand side, stopping all those villagers running out from Hera was huge. Denied him a wood line, and he had about 15 villagers run out to build a castle, and then he ended up having to go all the way to the right. And he still actually did not have wood at this point when he called the GG. So that's a huge deal. And of course, Zuppi massing the crossbows just worked out. He had like a 15 villager lead there. He would have won that fight and probably cleared up all those forward buildings. And without wood, Hera wouldn't have been able to, rebuild those buildings. So
Yeah,
it was a good
fair
game.
enough. It was really interesting to see the double forwards coming in, and yeah, it really worked out for Zuppi as Hero's map, which is really awkward, really struggling with the wood lines. And it was really a pity that he tried to focus down the tower with the villagers and hands opening up his wood line a bit more, and that really was a final blow of Zuppi, just denying most of the wood for Hera, and from there on he really started to struggle. I'm just surprised we didn't see the towers on the other side going down, so he could maybe drop a town center on a wood line further away. But yeah.
So game 5 then?
Game 5 indeed. And that means we're going to see another Hun Wars. Let me look at the eco. Nothing too exciting.
A lot of people were thinking that it would be a 2-2 there just because of the Civ matchups in the game 3 and game 4 there. So, but still, that game was really interesting from the get-go. I think right on the way to Feudal Age, we were like, "What is happening?" So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
looking back, I still can't say that Hera did anything wrong. I thought that I was going to really be disappointed in the fact that he sent a villager forward, but in a way, it did work out that he killed so many units there.
Yeah, he did a
But
quite job with it, but I still feel like he should have pushed Zuppi a bit more off himself on his own base, because
yeah,
he had more trouble really continuing to breathe than Zuppi really had.
exactly. He didn't have Why did he lose the game? Because he didn't have any wood. And had he had the defensive ranges, I think he would have easily pushed Zuppi back. And in the end, had that happened, I think he would have been in a better position than he was. But in the end, it was certainly an entertaining game, much different. And both games, I could certainly say, were like that in the Civ matchup there. But we're not too far off from the next game here, and it'll be the final game. So get hyped.
Yeah.